In the dead of winter, a man spotted what looked like a lifeless shape beneath a frozen lake, only to realize it was a wolf trapped under the ice. Without hesitation, he dove into the freezing water and dragged the animal to safety. But what happened after the rescue was something no one could have predicted. It was bitterly cold, the kind that seeps deep into the bones and makes a man question his own sanity. He had been sitting on the frozen lake since dawn, drilling holes, hoping for something, anything, to bite. Fishing had always been his way of escaping reality, if only for a while. But that morning felt different. As he was about to pack up, he noticed something moving beneath the ice. A shadow shifted under the surface. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, his mind playing games after too many hours of solitude. But then it moved again, frantic, struggling. He dropped to his knees, pressing his face against the ice. That's when he saw it. A wolf, trapped beneath the thick, transparent surface. Its fur swirled like ghostly smoke around wild, desperate eyes that seemed to stare directly into his soul, pleading. His heart pounded. Logic told him to walk away. Wolves were predators, not pets, but something deeper, primal, drove him forward without hesitation. He grabbed his hatchet and began hacking at the ice. Each swing sent shockwaves up his arms. The ice was stubborn, unyielding. Breath fogged the air, adrenaline numbing both pain and cold. He struck harder, desperate, as the wolf's movements slowed beneath the surface. "Come on, don't you dare give up," he shouted, not sure whether he was speaking to the animal or himself. Finally, the ice gave way with a violent crack. His hand plunged into the freezing water, seizing fur and muscle. The wolf struggled, teeth bared, but it was too weak to resist. With a final heave, he pulled the creature from its icy prison. Soaked and gasping, man and beast locked eyes, an unspoken exchange of understanding, maybe even gratitude. Then, without warning, the wolf shook violently and bolted across the lake, vanishing into the tree line. He stood there, trembling, breath ragged, wondering what he had just done. His life had always been predictable safe. But as the wolf disappeared into the woods, something inside him shifted. Deep down, he knew nothing would ever be the same again. For a while, things seemed normal. But soon, subtle changes crept across his quiet farm. One morning, he went out to feed the chickens and stopped cold. The coop door stood open. Feathers littered the snow like dark confetti. His best hen is gone without a trace. Later that day, Stephen, his neighbor, paid a visit. Stephen always had opinions, loud ones, and today was no different. "It's wolves," Stephen growled, eyes sharp. "Heard them howling at night. They're back, and they're hungry." "You sure?" he asked, trying to mask the growing unease in his voice. "Damn sure," Stephen said, glaring. "We ain't waiting till someone's kid gets taken. We're hunting tonight. You in?" The words twisted in his gut. Hunting wolves was common around here. But this time, it felt personal. Too personal. That evening, trucks rolled into his driveway. Engines growled. Men he'd known for years climbed out, rifles slung over their shoulders. Grim-faced, Stephen stepped forward. "You coming?" "No," he replied, voice low. "I gotta watch the farm." The trucks roared into the night, leaving him alone with his guilt. He paced the property with a flashlight, checking locks and gates. Every creak, every rustle in the wind set his nerves on edge. The hunters returned empty-handed, frustrated, and bitter. Stephen stormed over. "They're out there," he snapped, pointing toward the woods. "And someone's gonna pay." But he knew, deep down, that wolves didn't break into locked coops. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling this was all somehow his fault. Tension thickened around the village. The howls at night grew louder, or maybe just closer. Sleepless nights gave way to days filled with suspicion. People started watching him differently, whispering. Then, one morning, he stepped outside and froze. Lying by the barn door was a wolf, darkened with blood, barely breathing. Recognition struck him like a punch to the chest. It was the one he'd saved. He knelt beside it, heart pounding. A bullet wound gaped at its side. Infection festered. The wolf growled weakly, eyes narrowing, but it didn't bite. "It's okay," he whispered. Carefully, he lifted the wolf and carried it into the barn, laying it on straw. Days passed in secret. He cleaned the wound, applied ointments, and fed it quietly, all while watching over his shoulder, terrified someone might find out. Then, one night, footsteps crunched outside. The barn door swung open. Stephen stood there, shotgun slung, eyes blazing. "Heard you've been acting strange," Stephen said, stepping inside. "Just busy," he replied. Then Stephen saw the wolf. "You've lost your damn mind," Stephen shouted, raising the shotgun. He stepped between them. "It's hurt. Let me handle this." "It's a killer," Stephen snapped. "You think it's your pet." "I can't let you do this." Stephen stared at him. Their long friendship hung in the balance. Then slowly, Stephen lowered the gun and turned away. "You're making a mistake," he muttered. "Next time I won't." But the damage was done. Word spread quickly. His secret was out. He became an outcast. Friends crossed the street to avoid him. Gossip bloomed. Even his own sister turned her back on him. "Why protect a killer?" she asked, eyes cold. He poured himself into nursing the wolf. It grew stronger, but so did his fear. He knew he couldn't keep it forever. One morning, he led the animal, now healed, into the truck. Deep in the forest, he opened the cage. "You're free now," he whispered. The wolf paused, looking at him one last time. Then, without a sound, it disappeared into the trees. Days later came the knock. Stephen. Grim. Furious. "Hunter's boy's dead," he hissed. "Mauled? Your wolf did it." "You can't be sure." "We warned you," Stephen roared. "This blood's on your hands." He sank into despair. Doubt gnawed at him. Could he have been wrong? The whispers turned to accusations. Police arrived. "Where were you that night?" the officer asked. "At home," he repeated again and again. Then came the outsider, a woman named Carol Wright, a journalist. "I'm here to get the truth," she said. Suspicion followed her everywhere. Still, she persisted. One morning, Carol showed up again. "I found something," she whispered. "But you need to trust me." Together, they entered the woods. Wolves emerged, silent, watching. And there, at the front, stood his wolf, alive, leading the pack. Then, just as silently, they vanished. But Carol collapsed, her ankle twisted. As he carried her back, she whispered a truth that crushed him. "I'm not here to save you. I'm here to write about what happens when good intentions go wrong." He said nothing. And yet, even she admitted, maybe it's not so simple after all. But life got worse. One night, flames roared. His house, his sanctuary, burned. Neighbors watched without lifting a hand. Stephen stood nearby. "Serves you right," he said. Ashes remained, nothing more. Carol returned once. She apologized. He took the blame. "I did this," he whispered. Years passed. He rebuilt alone, far from the village. Then, in a distant town, he saw Stephen again, older, quieter, standing beside a wolf. His wolf. Their eyes met. A silent nod passed between them, acknowledgement, maybe even respect. Then they walked away, and he was left behind, uncertain, haunted. He had sacrificed everything for compassion. Was it worth it? He still didn't know. But somewhere between right and wrong, between kindness and consequence, he understood this. Even if the world never saw it, he had chosen to matter, even if the cost was everything. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this story. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.